the women's 4x100 meter final at the Tokyo World Championships are over. And to be real with you, the way that race ended is about the same way most people expected it to, with Sha'Carri Richardson running across the line and then celebrating another gold medal in the event. She has done that now 3 years in a row. 2023, 2024, and 2025. It was her crossing the line before America got the gold. And if you go back to 2022, America did it again. That time she just wasn't on the team. Simply put, the women of Team USA are supposed to win the 4x1, and if they don't, it's supposed to be Jamaica. But in this race, what do you think happened? We got the exact same thing again. USA versus Jamaica. And of course, I'm giving you the end of a very interesting story, so let's go all the way back to the beginning. We kinda knew that we were on a collision course between these two nations for a while. Don't get me wrong, I'm gonna give a shout out to teams like Spain, Germany, these teams figure out how to get to stick around and run with amazing talent. Great Britain is fast. They do have multiple women who can run in the short sprints and make finals. They're always there. But when Spain and Germany do it, we don't see any of their women in sprint finals in the 100 or the 200 almost year in, year out. But somehow they figure out how to be here in the 4x1. But America and Jamaica came to the final more or less as the top qualifiers on time. They looked confident. And Shelly-Ann Fraser Pryce of Jamaica was going to be running in her last 4x1. For that matter, basically this is the last race of her career as a professional. So when you have somebody of her stature, and she's running the leadoff, and then you have, Team USA, and everything that they've got going on between Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, who, in this race, spoiler alert, she completes a sprint triple. I believe the last woman to do that in the World Championships was Shelly-Ann Fraser Pryce herself, and they're running on the same leg. And then you gotta add the Sha'Carri Richardson factor, because anytime she runs, it's box office. People want to see what's going to happen. And when the gun goes off, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden and Shelly-Ann Fraser Pryce run a very competitive leg against each other. Again, other people are running, don't get me wrong, but everybody knows that's where the action is. The second leg goes pretty well. The third leg, it's a little up and down, but what matters most is when we're coming from third leg to the anchor. I'm watching Sha'Carri Richardson, and I'm also watching John L. Smith of Jamaica, because depending on how they get the stick, is going to determine the rest of this race, because it's pretty close before the handoff. But Sha'Carri Richardson has a better handoff with the American third leg Kayla White. She leaves earlier than Joni Smith, who gets this when she gets her baton, at which point Sha'Carri Richardson has a lead. That's very important. And that lead starts to shrink. And it starts to shrink. And it starts to shrink again. And by the time they get to the line, Joni Smith has gotten so close that she is now within a tenth of a second. But it doesn't matter, because they only hand out gold medals to the victors, and that is America. If you just want to be detailed about it, yes, Germany was making a move as well. Sha'Carri Richardson did not only start to lose the lead, she almost got ran down. But none of that matters, because you just got to get to the line. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, and if you really want to know what's going on with the fastest athletes in the world, then you are in the right place. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. Which now brings me to the other side of the conversation, because we can celebrate this gold medal here in America. Remember, when Team USA runs a 4x1, it is always a gold medal or bust situation. That's on either the men's or the women's sides, and the women have been winning gold medals for a while now. I already walked you through it. If I were to take the history back for another decade or so, you would see more or less America winning, Jamaica taking some golds along the way. Yes, there are moments when America had mistakes, but we're now riding on 4 years in a row where the gold standard has been upheld. The reason I say this is starting to get out of hand is because it's wild the way they do it. Team USA does have the capacity to more or less out-talent the world, and so does Jamaica. Neither of those teams actually had amazing passes in this relay. And I think that's safe to say, because if you just use your head for more than a hat rack for a moment and consider that Spain and Germany were competitive in this relay, that's what happened. Germany got a medal, as far as I remember. And They don't have any women who are in sprint finals in the 100 or the 200. They just don't. How is it possible that they can even mix it up and be within a tenth, 2/10, or what have you, of America and Jamaica in a world championship final if they're not doing it on the baton passes? The 4x1 isn't rocket science, but if you can get your athletes to run together, they can compensate for another group that is way faster on paper and does have the foot speed, but sacrifices time during the zones. The women of Team USA have actually done that multiple years in a row now, where they've sacrificed some time in the zones, but they've also gotten gold medals. That is also important. When it comes to breaking records and yes, Team USA probably does have the talent to go out there and challenge world records. The world record they have in the 4x1, as talented as that team was, they really executed to put the time on the board that's still more than a second past what we're seeing in this championship. That's wild if you consider it, because even the men in the world championship final we just got, they weren't a second off of the world record in the winning time for this race. They just weren't. Not even the second place team Canada was a second off of the world record. But on the women's side, that's what we're seeing as the gap. But competitively, Team USA is supposed to win. And Sha'Carri Richardson, when she runs anchor, is supposed to come through, not just with the lead, but to do it in style. Now that we are on this side, and we're looking forward where, as far as I know, in the year 2026, there's no traditional world championship. When we get to 2027 and 2028, I don't see Team USA changing a whole lot about their system. We're going to have to go through a trials. We don't really know who's going to come out of that and be in the relay pool. We're probably going to go to a world relays, but whoever's running there may or may not actually be running at the World Championships in 2027. And in 2028, all bets are off because we've got to pick ourselves an Olympic team. And if you don't do it at the trials that year, it really won't matter. What I do know is that regardless of who we put in the uniform, because if you go back to 2022, the women that they ran in the 4x1 were actually not supposed to win at all that year. Jamaica had all the world's fastest women. If we're talking the 100 and the 200, the way that they took care of business on the podium, yeah, that was their year. And a team that had Melissa Jefferson-Wooden long before she got on this status. That's what it was. And a team that didn't have Sha'Carri Richardson at all. Still figured out how to win gold. As far as I remember, they didn't even have one individual medalist on that 2022 World Championship team. What that means is that year, to me, was the most impressive, where they actually figured out how to max out their talent to get that gold medal. But the rest of these years, America's been playing with house money. And as long as they have an athlete like Melissa Jefferson-Wooden on their roster, who ran the leadoff leg, might I add, because you would assume that the woman who completed a sprint triple would do it from the anchor leg. But she ran leadoff, because the anchor leg has been Sha'Carri now for a while, and nobody's really questioning that. That team, as long as you've got Melissa Jefferson-Wooden running like this, you've got an ace in the hole. When it comes to the anchor leg, Sha'Carri Richardson I expect to run even better in the future. This season was a down year for her, and she still finished 5th in the world in the Open 100. She didn't run a great anchor leg. If we're just talking about open speed, probably wasn't her best performance, but it doesn't matter because it was good enough to take care of business. It's the same thing we got from TT Terry in 2022, where Shericka Jackson took a large dent out of the lead that TT Terry inherited. It just wasn't enough to actually get all the way in front. And that's why the relay is a situation where you win and lose as a team. And the women of Team USA have been a championship team for a while now. They've actually done it 4 years in a row. And I don't see anybody else in the world except Jamaica who's really got the talent to go out there and stop them anytime soon. In the sport of track and field, confidence is everything, because when you win, that is just the moment when everybody else finds out what you already knew to be true, that fast is a lifestyle. Get your Fast is a Lifestyle track and field gear at scarecruiting.com/shop or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.